A PSA to start off these WTF moments from last night's Dynamite in response to a WTF moment done by the television. If you missed the opening to last night's Dynamite, do not worry, Archer versus Kingston in full is on some sort of YouTube channel right now. And I tell you what, last night's Dynamite, I thought it was nice. The opener, it was a certain kind of nice. The tag team match involving Chris Jericho and MJF, that was another kind of nice. The pursuit of Hangman Page, it's very, very nice. As was his match against Dolph Ziggler's actual brother. Dax versus Jungle Boy stole the night in my humble opinion. That was really, really, really nice. And as for the Young Cooks, well, they're just cooks, aren't they? When you watched what happened on last week's Dynamite and then what happened on this week's Dynamite. Young Cooks, cook. But it's Thursday and you know what that means. It means it's time to go through all the WTF moments from last night's AEW Dynamite. Hit the intro man. And we're kicking things off with a little tidbit from the mouth of Excalibur, who, by the way, should just shut up anyway, because Brody Lee Jr. said so. Let me read this out just to make sure I got it right. This came out of Excalibur's mouth during that opening match between Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer on last night's show. Eddie Kingston got thrown out of a Catholic school for throwing a desk at a nun. And the real WTF moment here is the fact you don't doubt that actually happened. Eddie Kingston, what a prick. And then fighting on behalf of all nuns, Lance Archer murders Eddie Kingston. It's just the way that Eddie's side area and his back and his hip, the way they hit the ring apron, it was just so gnarly, I had to make it a WTF moment. How he's not deed, I have got no idea, bunny lad. And then we have Excalibur calling what is clearly a Uranagi a chokeslam, and even though it doesn't matter one bit, if I didn't call it out, you'd be calling me an AEW shill, and hang on a second, Brody Lee Jr. might just be right after hearing that kind of thing. But then again, me doubting the judgment of Brody Lee Jr., I guess that's a WTF moment as well. We all know that Brody Lee Jr. is a fantastic professional wrestler, arguably the best in the world at the moment, and he's a fantastic commentator to boot. I'm jealous of him. And then we learned that Jon Moxley is a simple man. He likes his beer cold, he likes his coffee hot, but he likes his water room temperature. Talk about unstable. What the hell's that about, Jon Moxley? I mean, you like what you like, but that ain't it, Chief, in my opinion. The water has got to be like the beer. It's got to be absolutely frozen cold, as we say up here in Newcastle upon Tyne, England. But you speak about Jon Moxley, and years ago you would speak about a lunatic fringe. But now it would appear he needs a lunatic fridge. And I tell you what, watching that segment there from last night's Dynamite, if I did not know any better, watching Sting and Darby Allin beat the piss out of a window for no real reason whatsoever, I would be thinking those two there were members of Retribution. Whoa! The destruction of that property that clearly hasn't been owned by anybody for several decades. Oof! The devastation. The earth is shaking to its very core. Of course I'm just taking the piss, aren't I? It was funny watching those two there just smash up a glass window for no real reason whatsoever. They're just a pair of hoodlums, aren't they? Hoodlums being used on a wrestling show in 2021. Who would have thought it, eh? Hoodlums. I'm a hoodlum. Now, it pains me to do this, of course, because War Geordie Pack is a Geordie and his name is Pack, which means I love him with all my heart. But during that wonderful promo he cut on last night's Dynamite, he was saying, the elite. We're the elite there, buddy lads. You walk around here as if you own the bloody place. Oi, oi, oi. Bertie Big Bollocks. Which, by the way, is a phrase we use here in England, which just describes someone who's really cocky, as if they've got a pair of massive, swinging, meaty clackers. But I was thinking, Pack, they walk around here as if they own the place. They bloody well do, buddy lad. They're the EVPs. Now, me just being a no-good hack here, standing here, speaking absolute bollocks on the interwebs, I've got no idea how things actually work behind the scenes in AEW. But I have read a few dirty sheet reports, and of course they never, ever lie, do they? And the EVPs, they have some sway backstage, apparently. So that's a WTF moment in Pac's promo there, kind of. And at this moment right now, I would like to retract a WTF moment from last week's AEW WTF Moments video. I put it out there into the universe last week that when Hangman Page turned down the Dark Order, Hangman Page not only upset the Dark Order, but he upset the watching AEW universe, if the AEW universe is actually a thing. He grabbed his bottle of JD, he pissed pissed off down the heel tunnel. I was saying, was that a heel turn? Maybe that was a heel turn from Hangman Adam Page. But of course, as random genius on Reddit pointed out, Hangman Page only went down the heel tunnel because he thought he had done something bad. He thought he'd done something naughty, so he went down the naughty boys and girls tunnel. But then of course he came out the babyface tunnel on this week's Dynamite, accompanied by the name slate which read, accompanied by crippling emotional baggage. That is the very definition of the little thing that AJ Styles says makes professional wrestling so great. And then we heard Excalibur call Dax Harwood Dax the Axe and gimmick infringement. Kane let me know, Excalibur, that Larry, who is also an axe, he would like a word. In fact, Dax Harwood, I have it on good authority that Larry the Axe Hennig, he wants to axe you something. I know, that was a terrible pun. I'm very sorry indeed. I done effed up playing that Hager laugh there. That was just a bit of an accident. What'd you cut it out, man, Jake? With an axe? Sorry, Ross, me doing this laugh is just a random axe of kindness. Oh, thanks very much, Jake. You've got a lovely accent. I need to stop the axe stuff now. Let's move on. And then I was watching this scene there thinking, oh, Team Taz, speak about Bertie Big Bollocks, body lads. You actually can do the fighting. That's a WTF moment. And I'm only making this a WTF moment because for so long, so many weeks in a row, they're out there doing some dastardly no good things. Out comes Sting, and what does Team Taz do? No, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. There's a lot of them, isn't there? They don't go after Sting and his bat and Sting and his little friend called Darby Allin. They just stand there and do absolutely nothing. And in the process, look like massive idiots in my opinion. So last night on the Dynamite, yes, while it might have just been merchandise workers, at least Team Taz can do the fighting. All hope is not lost. And then during that main event match, we saw Stu Grayson doing some Stu Grayson kind of things, which are good things because Stu Grayson is really good. And Excalibur, you filthy slut. He gets on his commentary headset, he's watching Stu Grayson doing Stu Grayson things, and he shouts shades of Speedball Mike Bailey. Talk about things that make you go, and also, oh yeah! And then we see Ray Phoenix just doing some Ray Phoenix things, which earned him, by the way, the Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast Wrestler of the Year for 2019. Aren't we clever? He does a Tope Con Hero out the ring and he straddles the guardrail all in one motion as if he meant to do it, even though he couldn't possibly have meant to do it, because how can you land crotch first on something really hard after doing a flip through the ropes and not expect to hurt yourself? He didn't hurt himself. It was amazing. I don't know what to say. Ray Phoenix is absolutely fantastic. So that's it for all your WTF moments from this week's very nice episode of AEW Dynamite. Next week, we look forward to Beach Bash. You know what I'm talking about here, don't you? And yes, we're not going to reference the AEW awards on these WTF Moments videos because they weren't a part of Dynamite, therefore I don't have to watch some celebrity steal my gimmick. I wish more people watched this so I'd mattered. Thank you for watching though. I appreciate the people who do watch this bollocks. I'd be lost without you, quite frankly. AEW. Aye. I said it. Sorry, TK. I'll see you next week if there is a next week. Don't kill me, TK.